Yo, what's going on, guys? IceBall8314 here, back with another video. And today, I am going to be doing a Pokemon challenge. The question we're going to be asking ourselves today is, can I beat Pokemon Fire Red with only one Growlithe? I know this isn't the usual type of content I post on my channel, but I want to get some variety in, and I really love Pokemon, so we're just going to be doing this challenge. Now, Growlithe's base stats are not the best, but they're also not horrible, but I really like Growlithe, so I wanted to do it with him. In terms of moves that he learns by level up, he gets some decent ones, but they're not the best. He gets Flamethrower, which is really going to be helpful, and Bite and Ember are going to be helpful early game. The TMs are also really going to help me. I can use Dig for a ground type move, and Fire Blast is going to be a really powerful fire type move for the end. But yeah, those are really going to help me out. In terms of the rules, I'm only allowed to use Growlithe in battle. I can catch other Pokemon for HMs, but I cannot use those in battle. No items are allowed in battle, only held items. I can use save states for like the Elite Four and stuff, and no major glitches or exploits are allowed. I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to switch out Charmander for Growlithe, and so my rival has Squirtle. I named my Growlithe Flame because it's simple, and I think it fits him. I don't know, I just wanted something simple, but nice. I make my way through Viridian Forest, also gaining some levels to face on Brock at Peter City. And the battle with him honestly goes way better than expected. This was my first try. Geodude goes down to 2 bites. Now, remember, Rock type is very effective against Fire type, so I thought it was gonna go like pretty badly, as I was 3 levels below Onix, but for some reason he does not use Rock Tomb, which could easily take me out in one hit. He only uses Bind and Tackle, so I managed to take him out with a couple bites. And yeah, that gym was easier than I expected. I then traveled through Mount Moon, gaining some levels, and getting to the next location. And I also take the Helix Fossil, just in case you're wondering. After that, it's Cerulean City, and I take on Misty, not expecting to win, but just seeing how I match up. Staryu goes down to a couple bites, and Starmie takes me out in 1 Water Pulse. I decide to try battle against my rival, but it did not go that well either. Pidgeotto should have been easier, but I was not that high of a level, so I managed to take him out with only taking 18 damage. But the Squirtle fight is not going to be as easy. So next comes out Squirtle. I go for Bite as the only other move that's not very effective. It's just neutral. He goes for a Withdraw, which raises his defense, so Bite does less damage. He flinches, but Bite misses, which is really unfortunate for me because he lands a strong Water Gun. I do go first, but Bite does not take him out, and he finishes me off with Water Gun. I only need to grind a little bit. I probably could have taken him out if I had a couple more attempts, but still, I decided to grind. So I grind in the grass to the left of Cerulean. It's not the best, but it's also not horrible. And I do use an emulator to speed it up because I don't want to waste like 2 hours of my life grinding. But other than that, it's still legit. It's still normal gameplay, just sped it up to make it easier. So I decided to try my rival again, and this time it goes a lot better. Pidgeotto goes, or Ember does good damage to Pidgeotto, and it takes him out without dealing any damage to me. Next out is Squirtle, who goes down to a couple bites and a takedown. It only does a little bit of damage to me with Water Gun. Next out is Abra, who goes down to 1 bite because it's super effective. And next is Rattata, who also goes down to 1 bite because it's a fairly weak Pokemon, and I also got a crit. Not sure if it mattered, but I still did. And also faced Misty, got the badge, but I was not recording, so I accidentally forgot to, so that's unfortunate. But I take on my rival at the SSN. Flame Wheel does good damage and takes out Pidgeotto in 2 hits. Next out is War Turtle, and I already have a bit of damage done to me. He goes for withdrawal. So after a bite and a dig, he's only left with a little bit of health left. And bite finishes him off, and I'm left with 30 health. But then out is Raticate, who goes down to 1 Flame Wheel. And last is Kadabra, who goes down to 1 bite. Again, because it's super effective. Next, I decide to catch a Spearow to get the HM Fly, which is going to make my life a lot easier. And also catch a Meowth to get the HM Cut. Next, I take on the Vermilion City Gym. Lieutenant Surge comes out, and Voltorb and Pikachu go down to 1 dig. Pikachu does use a couple double teams, but I still managed to take him out after 2 digs. And last out is Raichu, who causes a couple problems, but still a fairly easy fight. I get paralyzed, and he spams double team, which raises his evasiveness, so it makes it super easy for me to miss. He also hits me for a critical Shockwave, which deals a lot of damage, but I managed to take him out with Dig in 1 hit, and I get the Thunder Badge. After that, I make it through Rock Tunnel without using Flash. For some reason, I don't know why. It would have made my life a lot easier. After that, I take on Erica at Celadon City, and I get the badge easily with Flame Wheel because she's a Grass Gym. Next out is my rival fight, who I take out actually very easily. This time, it's a lot easier than last time for some reason, but yeah. I'm super effective against a lot of his Pokemon, and his War Turtle did not actually cause any problems. Next out is Giovanni in the Rocket Hideout, who goes down pretty easily. Onyx goes down to 2 bites. Rhyhorn goes down to 2 bites as well after flinching. Last out is Kangaskhan, who goes down to 3 bites. Next is Leader Koga, who he's the Poison Gym, but he is not as easy. After doing a good amount of damage to him, he spams Minimize and then uses a Hyper Potion. So he raises his evasiveness and poisons me. So I miss. I keep getting damage dealt to me. So I do not manage to take him out. But I come back, and this time I managed to get him. It's a lot easier if I just use Flamethrower because it's a much powerful move than Bite. And hopefully I don't get poisoned this time. Well, it comes out, and I use Flamethrower, and it deals a good amount of damage, not quite half, but it does burn him. He goes for Minimize, raising his evasiveness, and Burn does good damage, but I miss a Flamethrower, and he lands a Sludge, but it did not poison me, and only deals a little bit of damage. Next, I take him out with a Flamethrower. Last out is Coughing, who, or second class, sorry. He goes down to 1 Flamethrower because it's definitely a weaker Pokemon. And last out is Weezing, who is a little bit bulkier, but still I managed to take him out with 2 Flamethrowers. Does a lot more than half. He uses Sludge, but it actually lands a critical hit, but and poisons me. But I still managed to take him out with Flamethrower. Just like that, I beat Leader Koga and got the Soul Badge. After that, I take on Sylph Co, which takes me a while because I want to get a lot of experience because there are a lot of trainers in there, and so yeah, I get a lot of experience from there and get a bunch of Pokeballs. After that is the rival fight in there, and Pidgeotto goes down, or Pidgeot, sorry, goes down pretty easily, but then Blastoise causes a problem. He uses Protect a bunch. I get a couple bites off and Toxic, but he's still too powerful. I land a crit and almost take him out, but do not manage to. But so I try again after a couple more attempts. I figure out I can just use Toxic and then keep using Dig, which basically what that does is I'll be underground, so he can't hit me, and Toxic will keep doing damage. And within 6 turns, he goes out, and I also land a crit, which helps. Growlithe almost goes down to 1 dig, but I take him out with a bite after that. Next out is Execute, who goes down to 1 flamethrower, and then Alakazam, who goes down to 2 bites. Next is leader Giovanni in Self-Co. He's not the easiest fight because most of his Pokemon are super effective against Growlithe because he is a ground type specialist. But after a couple attempts, I do manage to take him out. Rhyhorn goes down to 2 digs. Next out is Kangaskhan, who fake outs, but then a couple digs and bites later, I take him out. Last out is Nidoqueen, who and bite does a good amount of damage, but she keeps using Tail Whip and is leader in Saffron City, who's easy sweep with bite because it's super effective against her psychic Pokemon. I get that badge, and after that is leader Blaine, who goes down pretty easily after a couple digs, and yeah, I get that badge. And after that I go to the islands, pretty much like a side quest kind of, but yeah. Next I have a couple attempts at Giovanni, but this gym takes me a long time because he's a ground type specialist, like I said, and his Pokemon are super effective against mine, so it takes me a long time. So I decide to grind at Emerald Spa. I can use the Versus Secret to keep battling these trainers, so after I keep charging, I can keep battling them and gain a good amount of experience. So I decide to try again at level 70. Dig does a good amount of damage to Rhyhorn, who luckily doesn't use Earthquake first turn, which is going to do a lot of damage to me if I'm in the ground. He lands a Scary Face, lowering my speed harshly, but I do manage to take him out with a Flamethrower, and he did no damage to me with his Rhyhorn. Next out is Dugtrio, which is going to be faster than me with my speed fall, so he does land an Earthquake, but I managed to take him out with 1 return. And I did also, I forgot to mention, I got the TM return and taught it to Growlithe, which, if you don't know, it deals damage based on your friendship with him, which is a lot because he's the only Pokemon I'm using. Next out is Nidoqueen, who I managed to take out, but does a lot of damage to me because I do not take it out on 1 return, so its Earthquake only leaves me with 44 HP. I do manage to take it out with return, but last up is Nidoking, who with Dig, which deals a good amount of damage, and he misses his scary face. But if I keep using this strategy, it's actually not gonna work. So I don't know why I actually keep trying again. I guess I was just being stubborn. I really want to get him, but he was definitely the toughest gym leader in the whole playthrough because of his super effective typing. But I do manage to get to level 71 in this battle. Next out is Dugtrio. He's still faster than me, which is unfortunate because he lands an Earthquake, which deals a heavy amount of damage, but not quite half, but still not ideal. Return takes him out though. And next out again is Nidoqueen. I use Return, but it does not take Nidoqueen out, and they land a heavy Earthquake once again, leaving me with only 62 health. But Return takes it out. And I'm poisoned as well. Next up is Nidoking, who still does too much damage for me to be able to actually take him out. Return does good damage, but doesn't take him out, and he manages to land an Earthquake, taking me out. And there's my just HM Pokemon. That's still in my party, but still don't use it in battle. Don't actually know what I'm trying to do here, but I do fly back to Vermilion City, I guess, to grind more. So I surf back. I also did get a Lapras to get the Surf HM, which really helps me out. So I get Lapras from my PC and decide to go back to grind. Also, guys, I'm not the best editor, so a lot of this is extra that maybe shouldn't be in here. But like I said, I was trying to get this video out as fast as possible, so sorry if I do make mistakes like this. It takes a couple minutes for me to get back, but like I said, I decided to grind more, and I really like the spot to grind because you get a lot of experience from the trainer battles, so I just keep using the Versus Seeker to battle them. We only have about 2 Pokemon each, and there's 3 trainers that can possibly be taken out or be like engaged by the Versus Seeker. So I keep resetting and charging my Versus Seeker in order to grind, and then after that I take on Giovanni once again. So now I'm at level 77, and again he starts with Rhyhorn, so I start with Dig. He of course misses his scary face, and Dig does a good amount of damage, almost taking him out, leaving him with only a sliver of health. But he lowers my speed with scary face. He uses a hyper potion as I use flamethrower, which is not what I was expecting. So but it does actually manage to take him out, and that's when I realized I could have probably just used that and not have lowered my speed, but it's all good. Next out is Dugtrio. He only goes for Slash for some reason instead of Earthquake, which helps me out a bunch because instead of dealing a bunch of damage, it only deals a little bit, so I can get to Nidoqueen with almost full health. I go for a Return, and it does a very good amount of damage, leaving her with only a sliver. She does a good amount of damage, but not quite half. Giovanni uses a Hyper Potion, so my next Return does not take it out, of course. He then withdraws into Nidoking, or actually Rhyhorn, and does a good amount of damage, actually taking him out. And then he sends out Nidoqueen once again. Flamethrower takes her out. Last up is Nidoking once again, but I am coming in with more than half, so it won't be able to take him out with one Earthquake, but I managed to take it out with one Flamethrower, finally winning me the battle so I can get the badge and finally be able to move on to the Elite Four. But of course, before that, it's another rival fight. It starts out with Pidgeot, who goes down to one Flamethrower. Next up is Rhyhorn, who goes down to one Flamethrower as well. Next up is Blastoise, who I thought would cause more of a problem, but in turn does good damage. But he deals a good amount of damage with Water Gun, but I managed to survive with 71 health, and the rest of his Pokemon I have very effective moves against, so it's an easy fight from there. Execute goes down to one Flamethrower. Last up is Alakazam, who goes down to Flamethrower as well. So this is the start of the Elite Four. Lorelei, I take out Dugong pretty easily. Cloyster comes out and goes down to one Flamethrower because a very powerful move. But then Lapras comes out, and Lapras causes more of a problem than I thought. Flamethrower does more than half, but its Surf does a very good amount of damage, and then his Citrus Berry heals Lapras back up over half health, so I cannot take it out with another Flamethrower, and it takes me out with Surf. So I keep trying again and again, but I still, same thing keeps happening, so I decide to grind a little at Victory Road. Again, it's not necessarily the best spot, but it's a spot. After grinding for a bit, I use all my rare candies to get back up to level 95, and I also go and get leftovers. It takes me a while because I have to get 30 Pokemon to get the item finder and then find the leftovers, but I finally get it, and it definitely really helps out for the entire Elite Four and Champion. Dugong goes down to 2 returns and does no damage to me. And the hail does damage, but then the leftovers just heals it back up, which is very good. And at level 95, Flamethrower does a lot more damage. It uses Confuse Ray instead of Surf, and I manage his Citrus Berry doesn't pop on the same turn, but I do manage to take it out with full health. Next out is Slowbro. So I use Return, and it does more than half, but he uses Amnesia, which raises its stats, and I hurt myself in Confusion, and I end up going to sleep after taking out Slowbro because of the yawn. But luckily, last out was Jinx, and Jinx doesn't have very powerful moves against me. So, and it also uses Attract, but I actually got out of the sleep and confusion at the same time, and I didn't get immobilized by Love, so that was super lucky actually, and I take out Jinx in one Flamethrower, defeating the first member of the Elite Four, Lorelei. Next out is Bruno, the fighting type, who, so I take out his Onyx with a Dig and a Return, and he uses Hyper Potion actually, but I take him out with more Digs and Returns. Next out is Hitmonchan, who goes down to one Flamethrower, which was a critical hit. Next out is Machamp, who only goes for Bulk Up after not taking him out, so I managed to take him out with 2 Flamethrowers and not take any damage. Onyx does a good amount of damage while I am in the ground with Dig, and he uses Earthquake. He heals up, but I leave him with only a sliver of health with Flamethrower, and I take him out. And leftovers heal me back up to over health, and I take out him only with 1 Flamethrower. Next out is Ghost Trainer Agatha. So, but her team is actually an easy sweep with Flamethrower. It's only neutral against all her Pokemon, but it's still a very powerful move, and obviously I'm level 95, which is very high level, so I take out every single one of her Pokemon with only Flamethrower. Next up is Dragon Trainer Lance, who causes a big problem because I don't have anything that's super effective or that deals a great amount of damage. Gyarados almost goes down, but then uses full restore and uses Dragon Rage, and but I still managed to take him out with a good amount of health. But Aerodactyl causes a problem. He uses Scary Face and then Ancient Power, which is a move that can raise all your stats. Hits me with a very powerful Ancient Power, but I do manage to take him out. But then his first Dragonite comes out. Outrage does good damage, but I don't manage to take him out, and he takes me out. So I have more attempts at this, but each time I fail. So then after this, I decide to teach my Growlithe a Fire Blast, which is a very powerful fire type move, and I replace it with Toxic I replace Toxic with it because Toxic isn't really gonna help me out because it only starts doing good damage after a couple turns. But yeah, Gyarados' Intimidate cuts my attack, but Flamethrower does a good amount of damage, but not quite half. He only goes for Dragon Rage, which only does 40 damage every time, and Leftovers heals me back up a good amount. Next up, I go for Fire Blast, which takes out Gyarados. Next up is Aerodactyl, but this time it goes a lot better, especially with Fire Blast. And of course, the Leftovers return only does a little bit of damage. I should have used a different move. Scary Face lowers my speed by a good amount. He uses Ancient Power, which does good damage, but not quite half, but it does raise all his stats once again. Flamethrower does a little bit of damage. Leftovers heals me up. Ancient Power lands, and obviously it's super effective, so it does a good amount of damage, but Fire Blast takes out Aerodactyl. But I'm still only left with 94 health, but then of course Leftovers pop, and I gain some more health from that. Next up, of course, is Dragonite. So I go for Fire Blast, and it doesn't do too much, but it does a decent amount. He goes for Safeguard, and Leftovers heal me up more. Return lands, and it does good damage still. Outrage almost takes me out. I'm left with 44 HP, but after that, his Citrus Berry pops, which is very unfortunate for me. But I go for Fire Blast, and it manages to take it out with a critical hit, which was very lucky. Next up is his first Dragonair, and at this point I'm feeling worried because I only have a little bit of health, but luckily they're not the bulkiest. So his first Dragonair almost goes down to 1 return. He uses Dragon Rage, which only leaves me with 34 health, but my Leftovers heal me up over 40, so he can't take me out with another Dragon Rage. Return takes it out. Next up is his final Pokemon and his second Dragonair. Of course, Leftovers heal me up once again. Return does not quite take it out, but luckily he only goes for Thunder Wave. And then Leftovers heal me up once again. He then uses Hyper Beam. At this point I thought I was screwed, but it does not actually take me out, and Return takes it out, beating Elite Four member Dragon Trainer Lance. Last up is Champion Guy. He does take me a couple attempts because his Blastoise is super bulky, and obviously it's very effective against me, but eventually I do manage to take him down. And I did say at the beginning I'm allowed to use save states because I don't want to just keep going through the Elite Four over and over just trying to fight him again. But Blastoise finally has a more powerful water type move, Hydro Pump, which is super effective and a very powerful move. But after a couple attempts, I finally got one that I get super lucky on. So now starts the battle. Of course, he starts out with Pidgeot, who I land a flamethrower and it almost takes me out, and he uses Aerial Ace. And at this point, I'm that because if I don't take or if I get lucky, a high roll, but I do not both times. He then withdraws into Blastoise as I hit a return for dealing more than half, which is very good for me, because then he goes down to 1 critical return. That was super lucky that he switched into Blastoise, because then he couldn't land a Hydro Pump because I was faster, and then so I took him out. Next out is Rhydon, who I do a good amount of damage with Flamethrower. It burns him, and then I take him out with another one. Next out is the same Pidgeot. He uses another full restore on it, but this time Flamethrower actually manages to take it out with a high roll. Next out is Alakazam once again. Flamethrower almost takes it out, only leaves it with a sliver of health, but leftovers heal me up a bit more. He uses a full restore, but this time Flamethrower actually manages to take him out. Next up is Executor. I use Flamethrower to take it out in 1 hit because it is super effective. Last out is Arcanine, who I should easily be able to take out with returns and digs, because dig is super effective, and he uses fire type move, which activates my flash fire, raising my attack because it's a fire type move. Dig almost takes him out. He uses a full restore, but I do land a return, dealing a little bit less than half. Go for another return, only leaving him with a little bit. He goes for bite, and then extreme speed, but it only does a little bit, and I take him out with a return, finally winning me the battle and beating the game. Next, I put Growlithe into the Hall of Fame, and that's pretty much it. This run was honestly pretty much as I expected. It wasn't the easiest, but it also wasn't the hardest. I didn't have to grind that much, but when I did, I used speed up because I really wanted to get this video out for you guys. And sorry that the editing wasn't perfect. I know. I tried to get it out as fast as possible. And I'm only limited to like a not so great editing software because I use a free one, but still fine. I try to make it as interesting as possible for you guys. I know that sometimes I forgot to record, or I didn't edit like the right things, but still, hopefully you guys did enjoy it. Make sure you do leave a like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you want to see more of these challenges. But other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.